We're standing here in front of an important piece which we sold many years ago, and we're very happy to have it. What is it? It is a youthful head, maybe of a woman, maybe of a young man. And with me is Lily, because not only Lily is a great specialist on hairdos, and
not my own.
Not her own, no, but hair. And she worked on the hairs in the 5th and 4th century on sculpture, Greek sculpture. Now, this head has an eminent history. It belonged to a collection in Germany around Worms, in central Germany, in the 1920s, the von Heyl collection, which was sold in the 1930s, the catalogue written by nobody else than Ernst Langlotz, the famous German archaeologist. That's when archaeologists still wrote sales catalogues. And here we are facing a face which is complicated because he thought it was a young girl. Meantime, through more research, also in German archaeology, this is not the case. There is a very good article by Professor Stupperich in 2005 in Tethys, long article, where he in details goes into the piece and comes to the conclusion it could potentially be an Apollon Lycaeus. He's very cautious, and also after very careful analysis of details, because the piece has faced alterations, as you can see here, very careful ones, he puts forward the theory that we are faced here with an original of the Hochklassik, the 5th century, mid-5th century, which was altered during the first half of the 4th century BC. So we're always talking of a Greek original. There are discussions, and I believe Lily has also her own opinion, that it may not be as clear as we believe an Apollon Lycaeus, but simply also reflecting ephebic hairdo of the 6th century, 5th century.
6th to 5th?
6th to 5th, which has maybe been altered. That would confirm what Stupperich observed, that it's been altered in the Middle Classic in the early 4th century. But why should it be an Apollon Lycaeus, Lily?
Well, so my interest in the hairstyle is that it's really, as you can see, it has these wonderful braids all the way around, sprouting, or originating from the nape of the neck, coming all the way around and then gathered again. And I call this a hair storage solution, because when these young Athenian men, and actually all over the Greek world, were coming of age, they would grow specific locks of hair and grow them ostentatiously and store them and present them around their heads. And the more ornate, the better. And so you see this in vase painting and also sculpture. And I think that's exactly what's happening here. It happened with mortals, and you know the Critios boy on the Acropolis and the blonde boy also on the Acropolis, one a little earlier than the last. There's been this constant debate, is it Apollo, is it a mortal? And I think the idea is, we don't know, but Apollo in the 4th century becomes an ephebe. He becomes one of these young men. And so he begins to grow his hair, and specifically for the cult of Lycaeus. So I think he's adopting this ephebic sacrificial hairdo for a specific cult. I think it's almost the reverse. We have to see this as sort of an anonymous person, but potentially related to one of these cults. That's my take on it.
I found it convincing what you're saying. We had quite a debate about it because Stupperich is a very renowned archaeologist and the article is very dense. He's very cautious in his observations. There are technical observations which are difficult to show, but there are certain flat parties on the skull which indicate that effectively the head might have been damaged. But that doesn't contradict, might have been damaged in the 5th century and then altered, which we know as a phenomenon that they repaired pieces.
And Langlotz's interpretation of this as a maiden is also not unconvincing. I don't think it is, because there are differences with the way that a maiden's hair would have been, but the idea that a maiden would have grown her hair in the same way to dedicate before marriage was absolutely going on at the same period.
And you have it on funerary stela.
Yes, and vases, and the core you could see is the same thing on the Athenian Acropolis, but you would expect the hair to be long throughout, and perhaps worn down the back long, like the caryatids of the rectum.
So in fact, what we have here is a very challenging piece.
Yeah.
I mean, no doubt that it's a early 4th century piece, but the whole rest will remain a bit a mystery and giving way to many ways of interpretation, which quite frankly makes this piece very exciting. Thank you very much.